23rd of December 2023. In hierdie episode van Boerbeskuit gaan ek bietjie kyk na die nuus, maar ek gaan heel waarskynlik dit nou definitief nie aanbied soos jy dit nou op SABC of op kyk net so verwag. Die eerste ding waaroor ek wil praat is hierdie storie van Zuma se politieke party MK. There's something cooking in that whole setup there that makes me wary of what we are seeing is actually what is happening. The first thing that is to me prominent is that it's clear that the focus is on Natal. Now the question should be why. It looks to me like Zuma is planning on uprooting the ANC from Natal completely. Because the vast majority of the ANC support in Natal is because of Zuma. So why is he doing that? I'm not so sure. And then the other thing that is bothering me about that whole setup is for years and years, Karl Neus has been openly supporting Jacob Zuma. And then just a few days before Zuma announces the creation of the MK party, Neus joins the EFF. Now what the hell happened there? Was it a plan? Or was it a lack of breakdown of communication between Karl and Zuma? That is something that I'm not sure what actually happened there. And then we have the situation in the Ukraine. It is quite clear that the West is beginning to lose interest in the Ukraine, but they have spent billions and billions of dollars and euros there. They've pumped all their military equipment, the reserves that they had in there. Europe has effectively been disarmed by the Ukraine, and then we get the report by that American general that says that the Ukraine affair was basically a way for the US to modernize their own weapon systems because they pumped all their old shit into the Ukraine. And now it's got to be replaced with new stuff for the American military. Well, I think that was, if that was the plan, it is evil, because it looks like 2 generations of Ukrainians have been wiped out. So I think that Ukraine is done. Ukraine can never be a country again. They've lost all their industrial capacity. They've lost a large section of their natural resources in the Donbass, and their infrastructure has been seriously damaged. And then Putin comes out with a speech and he says that the western part of Ukraine, and then he names all the different regions there. He said those things actually never belonged to Ukraine. I belong to Poland and Czechoslovakia and Moldova and Romania and Hungary. And that, I think, was something that we should keep in mind when we talk about Ukraine. Because the message that Putin has actually given there is that Russia would not interfere if those countries take their traditional lands back. The Ukrainians can't stop them. So it will be up to those countries. If they decide to march into Ukraine and take those lands, the Russians is not going to stop them. And it seems to me quite clear The Russians is not going to stop until they've taken Odessa. And once they've taken Odessa, they will connect onto Transnistria. And then the old traditional Russian land is back with Russia. Now there's going to be a portion in the middle of Ukraine, which many reporters and analysts refer to as a rump Ukraine. That is what's going to be left. But what government is going to be in there? Zelensky's time is over. It's just a matter of when they're going to move him out, or when is he going to fall through a window. And then we look what's going on in America. In America, it's quite clear that the Zionist sympathy is moving away from him very fast. And not only on the Democrat side, also on the Republican side. The people, the normal people, has become aware of the fact that for many years the Zionist lobby in New York has been manipulating the whole American government system. And it seems like people are seeing the light. And then I see other reports and I listen to debates and so forth. There's a lot of friction in America itself. And there are now commentators that are openly talking about either secession or civil war. That will be brutal for America. But I think the avalanche of illegal immigrants that Biden has unleashed on America has finally dawned on the citizens what the hell they're planning to do to them. In Canada, it doesn't look so good. Trudeau is obviously finding himself in the position that the ordinary citizens on the ground has had it with these liberal policies and things like that. But those ordinary citizens find themselves in the same position that most Western people find themselves. That the gravy train season ticket holders has got such a strong grip on the governments that it's going to take more than protests to unseat them. And there are commentators that are beginning to talk in that direction. Then we get to South Africa. En hier by ons sien ek gister 'n plakkaat kom op een van my groepe van 'n protesoptog wat gereël word na die Vryheidsfront se kantore toe. Ek het eers na gekyk en toe dog ek, okay, het die rebelle nou wakker geword? Maar toe meer en meer ouens gepost het en gereport op het, lyk het vir my, dis baie meer as net rebelle wat wakker word. Daar's mense wat moedig is, hoor, baie moedig is. En ek het vanoggend vir hulle gesê, ek wonder of hulle regtig besef dat as hierdie protesveldtog van hulle sou slaag om daai leierskap uit hulle stoele uit te pluk in die VF+, dat daardie spesifieke aksie van hulle en 'n sukses van dit kan baie maklik 'n wêreldwye proses ontketen waar die gewone mense besef, okay, dit is actually moontlik om hierdie seisoenkaartjiehouers op die soustrein uit hulle seats uit te pluk en van die trein af te gooi. Want dit is wat ons nodig het. Want hulle is nie meer verteenwoordigers van die publiek nie. Hulle is nie meer verteenwoordigers van die stem, ouens wat hulle stem nie. Hulle soek maar net daai stem om hy seat te kry. En as hulle eers daar is, het hulle nie 'n issue met wat met jou gebeur nie. Hulle voel fokol vir jou. Hulle het hulle eie agendas en hulle kry hulle instruksies van hulle meesters af. So, as die rebelle dit reg kry, kan dit 'n groot ding wees. Dit kan 'n groot ding wees. En ek sien hulle gebruik nou daai slogan vir my van maak die varkhok skoon. Hulle wou, iemand het genoem, jy weet, make drain the swamp. Toe sê ek, nee boys. Daai is 'n holrig geryde Trump slogan. Bly weg van daai ding. So, dit lyk vir my dalk hulle gaan die ding dryf onder die vlag maak die vark ook skoon. Ek dink is 'n gepaste titel vir so iets. En dan sit ons met hierdie probleem met Eskom, wat al meer en meer sinister begin klink. As jy mooi luister na wat die verskillende ouens sê, dan kan jy duidelik sien, hulle is nou besig om beheer te verloor oor die nuus wat uitkom. En dit is duidelik dat daar die grootste probleem met die Eskom kragvoorsiening, een van die groot probleme, is die korrupsie en die teenwoordigheid van bendes daar. Kriminele bendes, wat massale hoeveelhede geld uit Eskom uitmaak. Maar dit nou daar gelaat. Dan sien ek die veldbrande in die Kaap is 'n groot probleem, maar die grootste steurende vir my was, vanoggend lees ek 'n berig waarin hulle sê die lugmag by Esterplaat kon net een Oryx chopper beskikbaar stel. En gister toe daai chopper by die vuur aankom, toe hy nog net 5 ure oor wat hy kan vlieg, voor hy moet gaan vir sy major services. En hy het gister 4 ure gevlieg. So die lugmag gaan nie meer kan help met daai brande nie. That is a serious thing, and you have to think about it objectively. And then you have to conclude that the Air Force is in shambles. But that is how it works. And we get more and more stupid statements from politicians. By beginning now, that one guy that used to be in charge of statistics says, yeah, maybe the election should be postponed. Be aware, that is how they start their shit. By feeding bits of information like that. And in a 3 months' time, it's front page mainstream news, and the next they're going to postpone the election. So we have to be aware of these things. And then there is now really serious evidence coming out around the pestilence, which I don't want to discuss for obvious reasons. But it looks to me like the game is up for them on that. But on the other hand, if you look around the globe, especially the West, it's quite obvious that this, my famous XXX, has got plans for us with our food production and food security and with water. You have to ask yourself, why is the ANC allowing the water infrastructure to collapse? But in my discussions about the debt of South Africa, it was clear that the government doesn't have money anymore. 70% of what they get goes directly to servicing the interest part of the debts that they took on. So there's 30% of the revenue is available. And then out of that 30%, we all know that a large proportion of that gets stolen in any case. And what is left over, they have to use to pay salaries and pay SASSA. So they don't have money to spend on anything. It cannot go on like that. And then there's a lot of people that are, there's groups that are pro-secession, and there's groups that are pro-emancipation. I'm not so sure about those things. The secession thing, I think they're going to have a hard time. South Africa will be balkanized before they can get any of their things going. But this emancipation thing is worrying to me. I'm not convinced that their base points of view is actually workable. And I see there's now people that are saying that the emancipation crowd are urging people to cancel their SASSA. I don't know how that is going to work. And they say, that those SASSA recipients must get in a position where they can provide for themselves. But how the fuck can they do it? Most of them are old people. I'm not so sure, but I'll get more information on that. But it's a Christmas weekend, and people are struggling. Prices are rough in the supermarkets. And then there was yesterday that video that did the round of the guys that are busy there on a safari in Angola. and they're paying for diesel in Angola, 3 rand a litre. We're paying 23 rand or something. You must ask yourself why. And I have to end it on this joke. I sent this thing about the diesel to my Mr. X, and he responded that it is, and I said to him, when I said, why it's got nothing to do with this? And he said, no, they've got all of that is due to what they're doing. And I'm wondering, how the fuck did he get that connection? The base of the problem with the fuel lies at Petro SA. That's where the problem is. But, and I'm going to leave you with this thought. Many years ago, my dad was involved in part of the planning of converting the old coal mines in the Ogies area. Storage for crude oil. That was developed to get to the point where it will become our national emergency reserve. And it seems to me that that oil is gone. That whole national reserve is gone. Where the hell is it gone? Who made the money? Think about that one. Have a great day. Please give me a like and a subscribe and share the thing. Thank you for your support.